Hey, I didn't know if you'd show up today. I'm glad you did. It's always fun. Not to make this too awkward or anything, but I look forward to it. So I see you already have your cup of coffee ready to go. Start the day. What do you like in your coffee, by the way? Well, I mean, each to his own. I say no criticism. Just, I'm happy for you. I don't even think I would want to tell you what I put in my coffee. I don't know how I can follow that, is all I'm saying. My first cup is always black. My second cup usually has something in it. This morning, it's cream, like whipped cream, before it's been whipped, and honey. So how I make this, since you asked, you asked such great questions. So I make my coffee and I melt the honey in it, just a spoonful. And then I dump the coffee into the milk steamer with the cream and I steam it all together and it's just delicious. So I know. I wouldn't even know what a milk steamer is if I wasn't married. But you know what? It happens. You get married and you get introduced to all kinds of things and you discover, hey, I like that. Okay. So, what are we doing this week? Got wiring to do on Mr.E. It's wiring time. All of the battery, alternator, engine management, power, all of those cables need to be done. And then, of course, they go inside the cabin for the gauges. Then you have all of the dash wiring, headlights, taillights, all of it. So I don't know how much I'll get done this week of it, but, with your help, okay. And when the clock shows up for the Challenger, we're going to pull off and go do that. And hopefully, if the weather's good and all of that, we'll get to see some running video of the, Challenger that I was just talking about, the car that we were just discussing. So that'll be fun, hopefully. If not, then we will all be sad and have no more reason to live, I'm sure. All right, well, let's get busy finishing our coffee, and then maybe accidentally something will happen. Hey, we're going to take a little interruption here because the new clock came in. There's this light in my eye because I've got two lights that went out up in the ceiling and it's not enough light over here now. So I've got this spotlight shining in my eyes and I've got those ordered, but they're only 5 years old, so I don't understand why the ballast is going out. They're LEDs, but they have some sort of ballast or converter, and they just keep going out. So these are the second and third ones that have done this. So apparently, they have a life. And you know what? Since I'm so smart, I'm replacing them with the exact same thing. So anyway. So these are, as you can see, they look identical in every respect. Maybe the new one looks a little newer. The black looks a little blacker maybe, I don't know. So I am going to just bench test it. I just feel like before I put it in the car, I want to know it's working. Seems to make sense to me. You know, I didn't have time to set this up before you got here, so that's why you're watching me do this. Well, come on. What is your problem? There we go. Let's get a good connection going. All right. Get my ground in here. Got a ground. Get my leads happening. Okay, and then we'll put the ground on the ground. Should be good. And then this side, let's move this over real quick. Excuse me. Let's do this. Okay, I'm just going to touch this one. See, we've got black to black, red to red. We've got a minus sign and a plus sign. We got to check it all before we, you know, destroy a $400 clock. Oh, look at that. Is that, let's let it go for a full minute here. Isn't that something? Well, I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. It's a new clock, but you know, there is something satisfying about things that work. And they remanufacture these clocks with the same internals as the old clocks, so you get the, they're not the modern internals, so that you get that action of the second hand. If it was a modern internals, it would just be a smooth second hand that went around, but this has that very charming click, click, click. We're going a whole minute here. I like it. Okay, well, we'll just disconnect that and call it good. I like it. Alrighty then. Unplug these. All right, well, I'm going to shine a light on the inside of this car and get this put back in. It's going to be amazing. So there, that's that's what we're doing. And then when we get done with this, we will get back to Mr. E. Well, the clock installation on the Challenger went great. No problems. It's still working. I've got the battery on a battery tender just to get the car battery 100% and let that clock run and be happy. So it is now time. Well, you kind of saw it was. I got to stop with the time jokes. I can see they're wearing thin. Okay, hint taken. So as you can see, I pivoted from that. It's a, kind of a business term. Pivot. I'm pivoting. Pivoted from that to Mr.E and got started on wiring, finally. Wiring is one of those things that I avoid, but it's weird because once I get going on it, I like it. It's great. It's all the routing and the planning and the, I like doing it. But I think what it is I need time to ruminate. I need time to see what I have, to work on the car, and while I'm working on it, think about how it's going to go. And then when I finally do get to it, well, I kind of know already. So I'm just going to take you in and show you, because you'd probably rather look at that than this. I know I would. So I've got, let's see, where do I start? I'm going to pick the car up and kind of show you what I've done. But basically, I've got all of the wires run from the alternator, and that's running back. I've got the wire running from the starter up here. I've got the wire running from the starter to the battery, but vice versa, since it's going to flow this way. So this is my battery cable, and that cable runs to the starter. Then I've got this cable running from the starter to a fuse, basically. It's a like 75 amp fuse or whatever, breaker, I guess. And then from there, I will run, or already did run, to the alternator, and I've also run one over to here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, it's right there. So this junction here will feed my dash, so that the dash fuse box comes out here, and then we'll take the power lead that would feed that, and I'll plug it in here. I do that in this case because it allows me to run a larger gauge from the battery to there than they supplied. So then I have a shorter span from there to the fuse box for powering it. And then I also have a junction if I need to grab battery power from somewhere. So, and that battery power will be on the breaker. So, I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I was just routing it, making sure I got all of my main power coming in. This is the box, the fuse box for the engine management stuff. And so I will run a cable from where I will show you in a moment, the breaker up to there as well. So that will have battery power as well. So that's kind of what I've done so far. Over here is all of my body wiring. This is the fuse panel that will go in on the firewall, and then all of this goes under the dash. This here is for the taillights, and this is for the headlights, and you know, all that stuff. So there you go. Let's pick the car up and I will show you what's going on underneath. For those of you that consider wiring as hugely mysterious, it is. It is. Don't try to figure it out. It's unfathomable. It's just, you know, pretty much goes together by accident. You know, it's kind of like the Big Bang. You just throw wires at the car and you hope for the best every time. Most times it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. So if you're wanting to, you know, gain confidence in wiring, don't, because it's impossible. And electricity, you know, who knows where that comes from? It's magic. Aside from that, I would say don't give up. If wiring is a big thing to you, don't give up on it, because it's you know, it's figure outable, if that's a word. So anyway, I just, for me, it used to be a big thing. And I'm no guru. I'm not a scientist, you know. I see the little symbols and things. I know what they mean, how they relate to other things, but don't ask me to teach a class, you know. But that's just because I've done it and I've learned right ways and wrong ways just by doing it. So my mouth got ahead of my brain. Therefore, I don't know if you noticed that. It just, my mouth was like so excited to talk. My brain was like, hey, hold up. I'm not done with the thought. I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, you learn by trial and error. So don't be afraid to fail. Just dive in. If you short something out, that's what fuses are for. If you let the smoke out of something, well, you won't do that again. Just, you know, just give it a try. It's 12 volts. It's not crazy. So all that dumb little speech. If I can get the camera up in here, right there. Okay, so this is basically my breaker, and I'm going to have basically I'm going to have the starter coming in here. I am going to have, and basically what's coming from the starter is from the battery, because the battery goes to the starter. From the starter I go to here, and then also the alternator. Whoops, hey camera guy, up here. Keep your eyes up here. Okay. The alternator will go here, and also the power for the fuse box will come off of here. So that's what this is. I just kind of hid it away underneath the battery so you can't see it from above. And then a cable will also run from here to power the engine management system. So that's just kind of my, you know, well, I don't know what you call it, electrical party room. That's where all the partying happens. So anyway, I'm not an electrician, okay? So I'm going to make up words. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you where I was at, how I was routing things, and what I'm going to do now is take all of these, you know, basically wires that I ran from everywhere in the engine that hooked to the party box, party room box. I'm gonna cut to length, put ends on, and hook it up. So, oh, here's the other one. This is the one that goes to the firewall. This is a dual wire setup that goes to the alternator, both of these. And then this one here is from the starter, which is essentially from the battery. So, there you go. You can wake up now. And then go right back to sleep as soon as I start working again. Welcome to Sad Stories with Eric, the part of the program where Eric tells a sad story. In this episode, we talk about this 1970 Dodge Challenger, which, well, let's just say last night was to be picked up by its owner. I was very excited about getting his car back, as I would be. I'm excited just to have it here. The engine started up, sounded amazing for 10 seconds before it stopped running, and well, it was discovered that the fuel pump is not running. Now, those of you who have followed this little project may remember that the only thing that was done was replacing the old clock with a new clock. It went quite well. So, what we are going to attempt to do now is discover the reason why the fuel pump either A, is not getting power, or B, is getting power but isn't working. You know? It happens. I've heard it before. You get everything working on a car. It doesn't matter what it is. In this case, it was the clock. It was the last piece of the puzzle. Well, you know, cars are a little bit like people. So, in an effort to get attention, well, you fix that last thing, well, they're going to give you another last thing. You know, you could go ahead and fix that other last thing, thinking now it will run perfectly. Just remember, there will be another last thing. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. These cars, you know, they like, you know, feel like they're useful. So, I'm going to track down this particular hissy fit this particular car is throwing, and hopefully coax it gently into action and reassuring it all along that really, if it just works and does its job, it will be paid attention to. So, okay, let's dive in. Just occurred to me that I've shared all of this right in front of the car, so now it knows what I'm up to. Great. You know those stories that you tell that you laugh about because enough time has passed so that they're funny, whereas when it was happening, maybe nobody was laughing? Well, funny story. I'm tracking down the reason why the fuel pump won't work, which, sorry, sound guy, telling a story here. Don't interrupt. Well, I was, obviously assuming that it had nothing to do with me and what I did, because, it's just silly. Anyway, let me take you in the car here, and I'll just kind of let the story show itself. Okay. So, let me turn the light on here. Battery's almost out. You can tell because the light's red. On another note, once, AI comes online and robots are an actual thing, top tip, if your robot has any sort of eye and it turns red, walk away, run. Actually, it's too late. If it turns red, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have got a robot in the first place. So anyway, back to this. So this is the signal wire for the relay, for the switch, for the fuel pump. As you can see, this isn't a standard shape for a wire, necessarily, that I know of. This is a stupid wire because it didn't know where to be, and so it hit itself somewhere up in here, so that when I tightened up the steering column, it died. It got squashed, and no more electricity could flow through it at that point. It was dead. So I am going to replace this with a healthy wire that's not stupid and will stay out of the way where it's supposed to. And I am going to say without any doubt that the fuel pump will work. Also, this is the fuse. This was my first clue, this fuse, because this fuse was blown. It was no bueno. And I thought, well, what blows a fuse? Shorts. Where could it possibly have shorted? Well, that's the only place I could think of. And sure enough, there it did. So anyway, I'm going to put it together. It's going to work fine. If you see me again in this episode, it will be because it didn't work. But otherwise, on that note, we're going to end this episode. with a success. You know, let's just put it this way. If this episode doesn't end immediately, it will be because we had a chance to hear this engine run, and everyone wants to see that. Okay, all right, you convinced me we won't end the episode yet. Golly. A guy tries to just close his week out, and nobody lets him. Expect me just to keep working. Okay, stick around. I'm gonna button all this back up, and then you can hear the engine run. It'll be great. Okay. Go drink some coffee or something. Man, don't you love that smell? Smell of, I don't know. It's hard to quantify, but when you know it, you know it. It's old car, gasoline, you know. It's exhaust. It's probably not good for you, but you know, there's a lot of things that aren't good for you that you ingest, and you know, it makes you happy. So as long as it's not affecting your life in a negative way, well, just enjoy it, okay? All right, I'm not telling you anything. You enjoy it too. Okay, so what a great thing. We can just erase something off of the board. Except I'm going to need some something stronger to get this off the board. Let's see, what do I got? Brake parts cleaner. All right, perfect. I'll take it off. You know, when you need a problem solved, brake parts cleaner. It's great. Just don't drink it. Oh. Well, I hope you enjoyed. The owner of the car was nice enough to, you know, let us enjoy the sweet sounds of that exhaust and the you know, it's a purple Challenger. What do you want? What do you want? Do I have to just spell it out for you? Well, I don't know if you enjoyed that, but I enjoyed that. So, right. I think I have something else to do, but my mind is not on it right now. So let me get my mind right, and we'll see what happens next. Now that my board is emptier, who knows what will fill it next. But right now, we're just gonna slide down here, 69 Chevelle, Mr. E, and the list, which I've checked off a lot of things on it. There's a lot of cross-outs, but I keep adding things. So gonna keep on trucking on the wiring, I think. Yeah, okay, that's decided right in front of you. So if you can get right on that, I'm gonna just sit down for a minute, think about things. So I moved the car up here to continue the wiring exercise. I've got the wiring for the Vintage Air started. Obviously it's not finished. And then of course the power wire and some different control wires for the binary switch and all of that is going out into the engine bay. And then these cables come in, and these are the control cables and control cables and throttle cable, etc. What is this one? Oh, this is the mill cable. Yeah. So actually, I think that's the one that when you turn the key, it's the signal that says, "Hey, computer, wake up! Time to start the car." Anyway, so I have no gauges yet. I've got, of course, all of this still on the floor. I'm actually, that will be next week. That will go in. And let's see. Basically, I've been routing the cables for, well, let's take a look. For this, so this is your, my words. I got no words today. I don't know what's happening. But basically, normally this would be where you would, like the OBT2 port where you would plug in and be able to read the computer. Well, in this case, there's an adapter plugged to it, and that goes inside to a controller. There's a module, come on camera guy, get with the program, that essentially translates to the decoder digital gauges. So all of this will work with all of that. So, and then we've got the fuse box plugged in to power, and then these two wires will be your negative and positive for the battery that doesn't exist yet. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. There's a lot of planning that goes into this that, you're not around for. I don't know, playing on your phone, you're talking to your friends. I don't know, but you don't see it. but it's happening. So, and then, you know, you're around for the work, the actual work of it usually. So, yeah, let's, we're gonna call it quits. Let's go sit down. How about that? We'll just sit down, have a short chat, and then, you know, then we'll go about our day. It's the awkward segue. Once again. Oh man, needed some water. I don't have air conditioning in the shop, but it stays pretty cool, except for a couple weeks in the summer when, you know, the nights don't cool down. Yeah, during the afternoon it can get 80 degrees in here. But I've got a dehumidifier, so it dehumidifies the air, so the humidity's like 35. It's not bad, 30, 35, and so, you know, I survive, but I drink a lot of water. So, I've had some questions. I see the questions in your eye right now. What about Dusty over here? I think I've mentioned it, but I'm hoping this winter. So Mr. F will be done. Ella hopefully will be finished and sold. And Mr. E hopefully will be done and out of the shop this winter. I mean, he better be. And so I'm pretty sure he's up. I've had him for 2 years, and I swore to myself, I made an oath that I wouldn't let it. He sat for whatever 40, 50 years in a shed, and that wasn't going to happen again. I was going to get him on the road. So, but he's going to be a little bit different build, not a restoration. He's going to be more of a roadkill style, you know? Don't get it right, get it running, you know? Because I plan on keeping him. So if I can get him running and driving in some way, maybe not even great, but pretty good, then I can use him and then update him as I go. So I want to maintain the way he looks. I mean, it took him 80, 90 years to look like this, and I think he deserves to, you know, keep his wrinkles. So no Botox for this one. This one's going to, all of the repairs are going to be done inside and underneath to strengthen the integrity of him, but not be visible unless you were to crawl around or something, you know, whatever. So yeah, looking forward to it. I don't know what engine I'm putting in it yet. I've got a Chevy 350 that I rebuilt that came out of a '69 Corvette. I know Chevy 350s in old trucks is kind of been done to death, but again, this will be, whatever I do is only going to be kind of, you know, version 1.0, you know, and then later as upgrades happen, different engines go in, different combinations, but I have some things available to me that would be easy to do, and I really want to see this truck on the road. So, you know, it might make you mad. You might not even care, but, you know, it's my truck, so I will do what I want. Oh, speaking of my truck, well, Mr. F isn't a truck, but this week there's going to be a bonus episode, and it will be Mr. F. So You know, body's been back from paint, and we'll get some assembly done. Won't finish it, but we'll get some assembly done, and then hopefully the episode after that on him will actually finish putting him together. I've got an appointment. Well, never mind, okay? This can be in that episode. I don't need to spill the beans. Okay. All right, that's it. As usual, I'm super glad that you are hanging out with me, and that's all I have to say about that. See you next time on Cars Are People Too.